welcome back to the No Morning Show here on TTT. I am Natalie Lagore, and of course to my right is Rocket. And we are celebrating Calypso History Month and paying homage to all those who have come and gone, and those who are still here, and even those who haven't even started their journey as yet, because we recognize how important Calypso is to the landscape of Trinidad and Tobago. Even I know 2 songs, David Rudder, don't vex with me for change 2 of your lyrics. Just now I learned them.
About 2 lyrics. You changed the whole line. You changed the whole line. You kept the intention though, so that's the most important part. That's the most important part.
I didn't even know that.
All right, this morning we're going to get things started chatting with the Education and Research Officer at TUCO. Meagan Sylvester is on the line with us. Good morning to you, Meagan.
Good morning, Meagan.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. Hi, Natalie. Hi, Rocket.
Thank you so much for being with us here this morning. So, Meagan, it is Calypso History Month. Just talk to us about how you're going to kick off, how TUCO is going to kick off the celebrations for the month, because we know we're in a pandemic and we know we have to change the way we do things, but I'm sure TUCO is going to be doing a lot.
Indeed. And thank you for having me, as I said. So today is October the 1st, and we're kicking off Calypso History Month, actually admitting that we are going to be celebrating the entire month, focusing on brother resistance, our recently passed president. And so the theme for this month is The Bell Reigns. Of course, emblazoning that whole idea of brother resistance with that bell in his hand and singing about, this music that really, captures the entire island. Yeah?
Yeah. I think that's so important, that one of the things that we do is celebrate the people who've contributed so much to the culture of Trinidad and Tobago, because whether or not people recognize it, the culture is a huge part of who we are. How we think, what we do, how we organize ourselves, it's all about the culture. So,
well, Meagan, I want to know what you guys doing to celebrate brother resistance this month.
Yeah.
Okay. So, of course, as we said, that is the main theme. But what we're focusing is on having different competitions, different shows that we're going to be having. Now, especially, Rockers, you know that my focus is education and research. And I want to actually speak more to that this morning. What I'm going to be doing, as I usually do, is I'm going to be going into the school system. Now, we know that there is an issue about COVID-19 and vaccinations and the school system. But still, what I have actually set up is the intention with the VAPA teachers, the visual and performing arts teachers, and I'm going to be doing Calypso presentations in the schools online. We're going to be keeping it online this year again. So that becomes important. We're going to be using the theme, The Bell Reigns, so that we can just use that to form the presentation to ensure that the students in the secondary schools, of course, Tobago and Trinidad, know more about brother resistance, know more about the Calypso art form, and understand the relationship, of course, between Rapso and Calypso music.
Meagan, I want to start it back. And at one time, what's the relationship between Calypso and Rapso?
Well, of course, we know that we're talking about Rapso coming from Calypso and also adding that rap element, that talk Calypso kind of attitude and training. And so it becomes important because when I go to a lot of the schools, usually Rockers, what tends to happen is that there are young people there, and we tend to speak about this aging population that listens or imbibes Calypso. And we want to sort of use the Rapso art form, because Brother Resistance, of course, was the Rapso king, and we're going to use his music as a way to connect with the younger generation, to get them involved in understanding that, yes, we're talking about speech patterns, we're talking about using language, we're talking about using a rap style together with the traditional Calypso training and art form.
But Meagan, do you think the younger people they are close to Rapso? Do you think that they listen to Rapso, or they can relate rather to Rapso music?
Well, the way in which we conceive such a concept is that younger people, of course, would be interested in hip-hop, they may be interested in aspects of rap and even trapso. Right. And so we're going to be using this knowledge base that they have about rapping to music to introduce to those who may or may not be aware, because I just want to tell you a little bit about the forms that we'll be going to. We're starting actually with Form 1, and we then go to Form 2s and 3s and go all the way up to Form 6, because of course we go across several types of schools. So we'll be going to, for example, like Trinity College, we go to QRC, which of course is the alma mater of Brother Resistance. Yeah. We go to St. Joseph's Convent, St. Joseph, and we go to Bishops in Tobago, Signal Hill in Tobago, Princestown Secondary, Marabella Secondary, Sandy Grande Secondary. So we go across a wide cross section of schools, and so we touch on different ages, of the students in the secondary schools. And so meeting them where they are to help them understand how to craft a lyric, what you have to do in terms of learning to write a song, and how you have to get involved in the art form in terms of understanding the musicality of the music as well. Because I also play video, discuss the lyrics, discuss the stage performance. So it's all of that. But of course, importantly, as I said earlier, the focus is on Brother Resistance. So I'm going to be using the music of Brother Resistance, using the videos of Brother Resistance to introduce him fully to the secondary school students.
And I think that is so important because, when you want to develop a mind, you have to start from early. So I'm happy that you all are starting from the primary schools. And, I heard Ruckus ask about if you think people will be able to relate the children to rhapsody music. I think they will be able to if they're introduced to it and if they're taught about it, to learn to understand it and, how it is different from regular rap, how it is different from just calypso by itself, and what makes it rap. So what are the musical elements, Is it the beat? Is it the beat per minute? Is it, just the lyrical content? What are the elements that make it different from what we're normally used to? But not only that, it's still an opportunity to introduce them to calypso too. Because somebody might hear it and decide, well, I want to rap. Somebody might say, I want to do straight calypso. Or you might have those who say, okay, rhapsody is good for us. So I think that it's very important that the TUCO is deciding to go in the schools and to teach the children about Brother Resistance. And I know that coming out of that, we will get some really, really positive development. But, apart from being in the schools and teaching the children, what else are we doing for the month of October?
All right. So as I said earlier, so I want to let everyone know, keep tuned to the Facebook page and Instagram page of TUCO so that you will know as we roll out the different activities. As I said, we're going to be having competitions, we're going to be having shows, our usual extempo shows, our usual calypso shows, and we have some special features coming out in terms of competitions to know about the calypso, to sing the calypso, to talk the calypso. So keep looking at that Facebook page and the Instagram page as we roll out. Well, we, of course, always start off with our Thanksgiving service and paying homage, of course, to the Creator for having us here as a body, as TUCO, charged with responsibility of calypso in Trinidad and Tobago. Yes?
I want to tell you and TUCO to stay tuned to the No Morning Show, because we'll be having our calypso competition here in observation of Calypso History Month. Is observance or observation? Observance.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know what's going on there. In observance of Calypso History Month. So I don't know, you probably could give her a little bit that she call in and see if she would know.
Nah, Meagan gonna know. Meagan gonna know all. Meagan gonna know all.
You
So
feel
she
so?
can't, yeah, she can't call in. Meagan will be cheating.
No.
Yeah, no.
You want us to test it?
No, you want to test it now?
Yes.
No, you're testing.
Yeah.
You're wicked. You're too wicked. You're too wicked, Natalie.
Rockers, one of the things I also want to mention is a special project that I've also been working on. And this is something that we intend to share when we go to NALIS, because we don't only go to the secondary schools. As part of the education and research portfolio, my remit is also to go to the general public of Trinidad and Tobago to do the education and, demonstrate the research that we've done. I've been doing a project, Calypso, entitled Calypso, the New York Experience, where I spent some time in New York just looking at the role and the responsibility of Calypsonians, and to some extent some soca artists who used to live in Trinidad and Tobago, perform, compete, and then they migrated to New York to speak about the on-the-ground scene, what would have happened when they migrated, what led them to migrate, and what that scene is all about in New York, as we consider all the aspects of Calypso, So that is something else, because I think it becomes important for us to understand that when someone leaves the shores of Trinidad and Tobago, it doesn't mean that they become a foreigner. Nello or Nelson, Lord Nelson, has a song called Foreigner.
Yeah.
And in that song, he speaks about the whole issue that, perhaps the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago tend to sort of spurn, the Trinidadian or Tobagonian who migrates and goes away. And if they don't see them coming back to perform, they don't see them coming back to compete, if they don't hear their music on the radio, sometimes people think that they are dead, because there are always these rumors that this one has died or that one has died. And really, Brother Resistance and I conceived this project with the intention to bring back into the consciousness of Trinbagonians, the whole concept of our diaspora in terms of Calypso being so dominant. So wherever you perform Calypso, you're a Calypsonian because you are continuing in the tradition. So this is a really very special project, and we're going to be rolling that out as the month, continues.
You know, Meagan, one of the interesting people who did that migration thing and still had a big hand in the development of Calypso is Ralston Charles. I know he moved to New York as well. Is he part of this project that you're working on? Did you get a chance to chat with him?
Yes, because when I first went up to New York, I would have engaged Charlie to discuss the entirety of the project and the ways in which he can be part of the collaboration. So it becomes important, but not only in terms of the arranging production elements or promotion. We also did several interviews with males and females. And what is important as well is we felt it necessary, of course, unfortunately, Raucus, during the period of the time when the project was in its full swing, Brother Resistance passed. But I continued to work on the interviews, and it's interesting because what we decided to do prior to his passing was to focus not only on the Calypsonian, who is the performer, but songwriters, background singers, and other persons who are associated with the Calypso art form. So you take it at all points. So when we present this information, firstly, of course, to the general public in terms of the NALIS lectures that we intend to have, as well as to the students in the secondary school, what we know will happen is that it will bring back into the consciousness of people. Listen, these persons are still performing in some cases. Of course, some persons have retired, but a lot of persons have continued to use the opportunity to take Calypso beyond the shores of Trinidad and Tobago, and in this particular example, to New York.
Well, Calypso in the diaspora is definitely something that I'm happy is being explored, because the reality is you're sharing the culture outside of Trinidad and Tobago as well.
And sometimes, they appreciate it so much more when they're outside of Trinidad and Tobago than when they are at home.
Definitely.
So I think that diaspora market is definitely a big deal.
I can speak to that, because I'm telling you, the things that I never appreciated when I was in Jamaica, everything has become magnified. No, it's true.
Of course.
It's literally true. To me, the diaspora of a country is always seem to be more in tune with the culture and more accurate with what's going on than the people who live inside the country.
But Meagan, one of the challenges that we face today is that Calypso is not as popular as it once was. So that diaspora market that you're talking about, their experience or their memories of Calypso that they would have passed on to their children would be very different from what we in Trinidad and Tobago experience now. How is TUCO, dealing with this challenge?
Okay, so thank you for that question, Raucus. One of the presentations or the talks that I recently did was an online conversation that I had with the students and faculty at Cornell University in New York. And it was entitled People, Power Movements and Caribbean Festival Culture. And I used it as an opportunity to speak to the diaspora in another type of space, this educational academic space. And the presentation was well received. And one of the topics, one of the issues rather that I dealt with was the contribution of Mr. Phillips and Kenny Phillips and the work that he's doing with WAC.
Right.
Because that has been one of the vehicles in terms of partnership with TUCO, in terms of getting our culture, specifically Calypso music and the rest of the culture, soca, parang, chutney music, and steel pan music, to the diaspora. So I spoke about that, the blueprint that he had to get the music out to the diaspora. And it becomes so important when we can speak to one of our own, making that contribution from right here in Trinidad and Tobago and getting the information to the diaspora. And so it becomes, just as Natalie said, you realize that persons who are outside of the national space are really so appreciative of the information that is shared and the discussions that we had, in terms of the fact that we were able to talk about Black Capital, the continuation of Black Capital for Calypsonians and other performers from Trinidad and Tobago who are able to continue making a money, as they say, during the pandemic, which seems to be going on and on.
Yeah, you know what? And that is definitely so important, because really WAC Radio is one of those stations that many people in the diaspora can tap into. And the thing is that it's 100% what? Local.
Yeah.
So you get all the content in terms of musical content that's coming out of Trinidad and Tobago. And I remember when Kenny Phillips was here, when he spoke of the struggle that he went through to be able to even get to that, and that's why the name of this station is even Whack Radio, because people thought he was crazy for trying to do what he did. But you're right, Meagan, we really have to say congratulations to Kenny Phillip for, you know, flying that flag high and not being daunted by all the naysayers, which we have a lot of them here, and it comes on to everything Trinbagonian, which is ridiculous to me, and I, as a Jamaican, I still don't understand it. But I'm so happy that, you know, we were able to get somebody like Kenny Phillips to invest in the culture in such a way, and hopefully even TUCO can give him that support, you know, that he so needs, because even though I'm sure he could use it.
Indeed. And just to add, of course, that the project that I spoke about, Calypso, the New York Experience, is a collaborative project between TUCO and WAC. So that is an example of that kind of relationship, because it's all about the culture. Of course, you know, in TUCO, we always talk about the fact that by Calypso our stories are told, and this is another way that has been conceived to tell our story. You know, Calypso History Month has been, you know, we've been celebrating it since 2002, and it becomes important for us to continue to do that kind of work every year, letting the populace, letting the diaspora know about the Calypso art form.
Well, Meagan, I want to thank you so much for joining us to kick off Calypso History Month, and congratulations to TUCO, and all the best going forward for the rest of the month with all the work that you guys have in store. I know you're not going to sleep very much, but it's all good because of you.
And don't forget to tune in to our competition, which kicks off here today. You can participate. We're not banning you because we want to see how many TUCO members know the lyrics.
You see what? You see the wickedness? You see what I mean? Meagan, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye, Meagan. All the best. Thank you.
That's Meagan Sylvester, the Education and Research Officer at TUCO, sharing some information about how TUCO is going to be celebrating Calypso History Month 2021.